Look, we all hear about the AI boom constantly, right? But what's actually behind it? I mean, the physical stuff. The spending on AI infrastructure has just exploded to a scale that's, well, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. It's like a gold rush for our digital age. But, and this is the interesting part, there's a really strange paradox hiding just under all that hype. Get ready for this number. In 2025 alone, we're talking $400 billion. That's what the world's biggest companies are on track to spend on AI capital expenditures. And to give you some perspective, because that number is just huge, if you adjust for inflation, that's like funding 9 separate Manhattan projects. All of that in a single year, just to build out the physical world for AI. Okay, but here's where things get weird. At the exact same time we're seeing these insane record-breaking spending announcements, the reality on the ground, it's telling a totally different story. More than half of the new AI data centers that were planned to go live this year, they've either been delayed or, get this, just canceled completely. So, how can both of these things be true? That's the big mystery we're going to dig into. How is it possible that companies are spending these unheard of amounts of money, but the actual building is grinding to a halt? It doesn't make any sense, right? All right, let's start our investigation with the first big clue. Let's call it the missing chips. The whole AI industry, as you probably know, runs on these super specialized chips called GPUs. And right now, one company pretty much rules that world, NVIDIA. But when you look at their production numbers, you find a real head-scratcher. And this chart really lays out the core of the problem. Check this out. This year, NVIDIA is shipping out GPUs that altogether would draw about 10 gigawatts of power. Okay, so what's the big deal? Well, the problem is, according to Goldman Sachs, the entire global capacity of all AI data centers combined is only 7.7 gigawatts. Let me say that again. They're making way more chips than there are places in the entire world to plug them in. So you're probably thinking, okay, but what about all the new data centers they're building? And yeah, that's a great question. And this chart shows you exactly why that doesn't solve the puzzle. You see all that announced capacity, the stuff from the press releases? Well, only a tiny fraction of that, just 6.3 gigawatts, is actually being built right now. And you know, under construction is a super vague term. It could be almost done, or it could just be a patch of dirt with a concrete slab on it. So yeah, the mystery just gets deeper. Okay, so if the chips are being made but not plugged in, what's going on? Let's move on to our second clue, which I think reveals the real culprit here. It turns out the biggest problem, the real bottleneck, isn't the fancy high-tech silicone. Nope. It's much more boring but absolutely essential stuff, the electrical hardware. Yep, you heard that right. The thing holding everything up is the heavy-duty gear you need just to get power to these places. We're talking massive industrial transformers, huge generators, power supplies, all the nuts and bolts. You literally can't flip the switch until this stuff is in place. And, to make it worse, the prices for these components have more than doubled in just the last 4 years because the supply just can't keep up. So what we're seeing here is a textbook economic thing called the bullwhip effect. It's a really interesting concept. Basically, it's what happens when even a small fear of a shortage makes everyone in the supply chain panic and overorder. That panic creates these huge, wild swings that ripple all the way up the chain, from the person buying the final product to the company mining the raw materials. And that is exactly what's going on in the world of AI right now. Companies have this massive FOMO, this fear of missing out. They're terrified of getting stuck at the back of the line for GPUs or those big transformers. So what do? They buy everything they can get their hands on, the second it's available, even if their data center is just a blueprint and won't be ready for months or even years. So this frantic stockpiling makes it look like there's infinite demand. But what it really means is that there are mountains of super expensive hardware just sitting around in warehouses, collecting dust. You know, you can even start to see the cracks forming if you look at NVIDIA's own books. I mean, check this out. Their inventory has more than doubled in just 1 year. Think about that. If demand was really, truly off the charts, why would they be sitting on so much product? And on top of that, their customers are taking longer and longer to pay them. That's a classic sign that the whole system is feeling the pressure. Okay, that brings us to our third and final piece of the puzzle. And this one's a little sneaky. It's all about some, let's say, creative accounting. See, it's one thing to buy all this expensive hardware, but it's another thing how you report its value over time. And that little choice can totally change how profitable your business looks, at least on paper. So here's how the game is played. On their official accounting books, companies say these GPUs have a lifespan of 6 years, so they spread the cost out over 6 years. But in the real world, with a better, faster model coming out basically every single year, these chips are really only top of the line for, maybe 3 years? So by stretching out that depreciation, they make their yearly expenses look way lower and their profits look way higher than they actually are. It's a neat trick.
And this whole problem gets a lot worse when you factor in rising energy costs. This quote just nails it. It can get to a point really quickly where it costs you more in electricity to run an older, less efficient chip than you can even make by renting it out. And at that moment, that multi-million-dollar rack of servers you bought last year, it's basically junk. It's just e-waste. So, okay, let's put all the pieces together. You've got the mystery of the missing chips, you've got this massive power bottleneck, and you've got these accounting games being played. When you add it all up, you start to see a picture of a market that's, it seems like it's running more on hype and FOMO than on actual, solid, sustainable business. And the pressure on this whole system is just building and building. Energy prices are going up, which makes older chips lose money. The tech companies keep releasing newer, better chips every year, which means all that stockpiled hardware is becoming obsolete before it's even been used. And now to top it all off, the private credit, the cheap money that was funding a lot of this expansion, is starting to dry up. You know, everyone loves the gold rush analogy for the AI boom. They say the real winners are the ones selling the picks and shovels. You know, companies like NVIDIA. And sure, they've made an absolute fortune. But all of this, it leaves us with a really big question, doesn't it? What happens to the shovel sellers and to this entire market when the builders finally run out of ground to dig?